And you're sure you haven't seen Peter since it all started?
I'm sorry, Andrew. We got separated after the guards arrived. There were people screaming and running. I just lost track of him.
Last I saw, he was following Jesus as they dragged him off to the streets.
Of course he was. Peter always has to be in the thick of it.
I'm sure he'll be all right, Andrew.
How can you say that? You saw what happened to Jesus. How do you think they'll treat one of his followers? I don't see them offering him a nice cup of tea.
Pete can look after himself. Everything's going to be okay. Jesus will sort this out.
Really? You're going to sit there and tell me Jesus is going to fix this? Did you not see who was directing the guards? It was the high priest's men. Jesus is a goner, and if we're not careful, we're going to be gone with him.
It's hardly going to be me, is it?
Oh, but it could be one of the rest of us.
Don't be stupid, of course. I don't think it could be you.
What about the rest of us? You think one of us could betray Jesus?
Yeah, how can you be so sure he didn't mean you, Pete? Who's got the track record of making rash decisions?
What? That's hardly fair.
All right, everyone, let's all relax.
Have you ever noticed things don't ever go quite as you'd think with Jesus?
Yeah, that thought crossed my mind, what with the walking on water, feeding 5,000 people, and raising a man from the dead business.
All right, no need to take that tone. All I'm saying is I thought we were going to have a nice, quiet Passover meal, and instead, all this happened.
It was a bit odd.
Now, which bit are you referring to exactly? The bit where he said that one of us would betray him, or the bit where he began to use bread and wine to represent his body and blood?
Both, I guess. But I really couldn't believe it when he said one of us would betray him. After all these years. Sure, we're like family now.
If you don't think one of your family would hand you over to be killed, you've obviously not been around our house after an intense game of Monopoly.
Only because you cheat.
What was that?
Nothing. But seriously, after all Jesus has done for us, I don't see how any of us could betray him. The things we've seen him do and say. Why would we want to get rid of Jesus?
I wouldn't be too certain about that. There's a lot of people out there who don't like Jesus, and I'm sure there's at least one of us who wouldn't mind taking advantage of that.
Well, I'll tell you what I told Jesus. The rest of you could run for your lives and leave Jesus to face the mob alone. But not me. Not a chance. I'm in it to the end.
All right, settle down, Pete. We get it. You're very loyal.
You better believe I am. And anyone says otherwise, and I'll...
We're not suggesting otherwise. Anyway, we had better get ready to go here. I think Jesus wants to head out for a walk.
Good stuff. Here's hoping for a quiet end to this weird evening.
They found him guilty? What of?
Pete said it was blasphemy.
What? That's ridiculous. No one knows the scriptures better than Jesus. They've never managed to catch him out. There must have been a mistake.
A mistake? Grow up, John. It isn't a mistake. They know what they're doing. They're lying. They're ready to do anything.
And they're going to drag him in front of Pilate. I can't believe this is happening.
This isn't right. It isn't fair. You know whose fault this is? Judas. It's obvious. He's the one who betrayed him.
We should have seen it coming. That man is a rat.
We're all to blame.
You know what? Let's get the boys together, find Judas, and show him what we think of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're not going anywhere.
What do you mean we're not going anywhere?
Judas may have been the one to sell Jesus out, but we all ran away when he needed us most. We all let him down.
Well, what do we do now then?
You're sure?
Yes, Peter, we're sure. He hung there and then he died. It was horrible.
I just can't believe it.
He was always a goner once Pilate allowed them to crucify him.
No one could survive that, Pete.
I don't know. I just thought he would do something.
There's only so much a man can do. You can't beat death, Peter.
He did do something, before he died.
What do you mean?
I don't know what she's talking about.
He forgave them. He forgave us. Said we didn't know what we were doing.
Typical Jesus. When he said love your enemies, he meant it.
Yes, very noble of him, but not much use to us.
Andrew, would you listen to yourself? Jesus is dead and you're worrying about us.
Well, someone has got to worry about us. I don't know if you've noticed, but Jesus isn't exactly the most popular person in the city, and I don't fancy our chances if people find out we were his followers.
Well, that's all well and good, but his body is barely cold and seems to me you're moving on very quickly.
All right, everyone, settle down. Of course we miss Jesus. I can't imagine what we're going to do without him. But Andrew's right. We have to look after ourselves.
We need to come up with a plan.
Well, whatever your plan is going to be, you can make it whilst we go and get Jesus' body.
You're going back for him?
Of course, we aren't going to leave him there. The least we can do is give him a proper burial.
Yeah, of course. That's important. Where are you going to put him?
A man has given us his tomb.
Jesus in a tomb? This can't be happening.
Well, lads, you'll be glad to know I've got the venue for the Passover sorted.
Big job, was it?
You don't know the half of it. The man wasn't for giving it to us, but I wasn't going to let Jesus down, so I worked my magic.
Oh, give over, Peter. We didn't have to do anything. Turned and told him that Jesus needed it, and he said no bother.
I tell you, Jesus' name opens doors, doesn't it?
And this is just the start.
Oh, you think so, do you?
Trust me, he does. He's been yapping on all day about how our time has come.
It has. Have you been noticing what's happening this week? The big entrance into Jerusalem, the palm branches and chanting. He's like a rock star. The crowd love him.
Not so much the religious leaders.
They definitely aren't his biggest fans.
Who cares? Jesus has been running rings around them all week. You wait and see. The Messiah has arrived in town. It's not long until he's leading the people and we're his right-hand men.
I don't know. Acting like a conquering warrior doesn't really seem like Jesus' style.
Of course it is. Everything has been leading up to this moment. Isn't this what we've all been dreaming about? The Romans kicked out, our land restored. I promise you, Jesus is about to do something incredible.